Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. And in this one, we are going to be breaking down the Havoc Demon Hunter, everything that is coming to the specialization in the next expansion so far in the Midnight Beta, and everything that is being taken from you and stripped away. If you thought that you'd already made enough sacrifices being a Demon Hunter, you are about to be making a lot more. So that's what you're going to know by the end of this video, is everything you're getting and everything that's going, and if this class is going to be a fit for you depending on your play style. Do you want something simplistic? Do you want something complex? So to start things off, Havoc Demon Hunter, in my opinion, in the War Within, was actually one of the more complicated melee DPS specializations. And this was mostly noted by the ability Essence Break, which in the previous expansion, you'd activate it, it would buff a bunch of your damage in a small window of time, and if you didn't execute those globals correctly, you were just significantly worse than every other player that was executing those globals correctly. So the trade-off there is now that it just does damage. It's just a cone effect that does damage. You don't have to worry about doing anything massively wrong in that situation to fall behind the output of another player, which is completely simplifying the specialization. That was one of the things that stood out, is like when I was playing Demon Hunter in the War Within, I was like, this is the moment where I know that I'm a Demon Hunter, because no other class has this sequence. That sequence is basically going away. And with that sequence going away, your class is very simple. It is very, very, very simple. You have some synergies now with I-Beam and the Hunt, basically, that are going to be amplifying your specs, kind of like your damage back and forth between I-Beam and the Hunt. So there's a little bit of kind of decision making as far as that is concerned, but your rotation is, it's like we're going back in time. We're going back to the Zug version of Demon Hunter, and I can show you that. You can use Immolation Aura. We can juice up our damage with the Hunt, which will juice up our next I-Beam, which will just crank out massive damage. We're playing Eldrazi Reaver. We can lob that bad boy out, and we're basically just spending our Fury, and we don't have to care about that big combo window that we had to previously with Demon Hunter at all. It's just spend your Fury as you get it and try to generate as much of it as you can. Keep I-Beam on cooldown. And it is very straightforward. It's very effective. So if you want something that is very simple and effective, Demon Hunter is going to be very simple and effective. It's going to be giving you very good results with like not a lot of like prior investment. It really feels like we're kind of going back in time to Legion Demon Hunter with this kind of Eldrazi Glaive proc, which is like kind of the only main highlight in the rotation, where you've got to be kind of thinking outside of the curve. So very simple, very easy, and very straightforward when it comes to the damage rotation part of things, which was obviously one of their goals. And I think removing the Essence Break window is probably a good thing to do. One thing was just because it was like completely mandatory to play the specialization, and it left such a massive gap between players. This means that you're going to have more time to spend on positioning, some cooldown maintenance, and disruption. But disruption is another thing that we need to talk about. Crowd control is changing massively for Havoc. So the first thing is that Fell Eruption, gone. Don't have it. You only have Chaos Nova. You can get talents to enhance Chaos Nova, but you don't have the double stun. The next thing is that there is a little bit of an extra delay on your Sigil of Misery. And what that means is that you can't press Incapacitate, although I guess I can't incapacitate a training dummy. You won't be able to incapacitate into a fear. With the delay the way that it is, the target will be able to move out of the fear. You'll have to combo it either with a stun or a snare or some other type of crowd control in order to get any sort of like effective chain CC. And I have seen some Demon Hunters upset about that, not being able to get that kind of chain CC at the same time. But I also think a lot of players have been complaining about the micro CC, where you're like stun, fear, and then gripped, and then, and so this does disrupt some of that micro chain window, and they are trying to move the game away from like needing to keep the healer CC'd, or else they're going to heal the target to full health in 1 millisecond. They're trying to move, so you have to kind of like take your brain out of the existing frame and move it into the new frame, which is the healer cannot be CC'd and won't just instantly heal the target to full. So that like that perfection of chaining CC doesn't need to be there in order to execute on a win. But it's definitely an important component that you're going to want to know about moving into the next expansion, because if you don't, you're going to be missing a lot of these Sigil of Miseries off of your imprisons. And you might be pressing some ghost binds by trying to use Fell Eruption when you don't have the ability at all. Next big change is that you get 2 charges of Blur. So we got double Blur now, which is nice. The trade-off is that we don't have Nether Walk anymore. So there is no complete immunity type of ability. Another Walk was kind of a fun spell. It was like an ice block you could run in really fast. I remember like using first aid. But I feel like they're trying to like equalize things out as far as cooldowns and keybinds, so they can cut a keybind out by just giving you 2 blurs and taking Nether Walk away instead of having them on the same thing. So just something to note, you're not going to have a complete immunity, although you are one of the strongest classes at the moment, whether it's damage output or healing and sustain. Healing and sustain on Havoc is absolutely through the roof. It's like if I see a Demon Hunter press I-Beam, it's like they're going to full health every single time that I see them press it. It is by far one of the strongest classes in the game when it comes to tuning. And it may be a class that is entirely dependent on damage tuning, given the changes that are coming forward for it. If it doesn't have the damage output, it's probably not going to be able to compete as far as like toolkits. I think tuning is going to be a very important part of the process for this beta, and this beta is actually one of the longest betas they've had for any expansion. So I'm pretty excited to see what they are actually able to cook and what they're able to develop. They have introduced some talents that are supposed to like even out some of your stat allocation, so you can go maybe for possibly not just like full mastery as you typically would, and maybe go for some haste instead. But that is still barring tuning. I'm really hoping they can make multiple stat allocations better than they have for some specs, so you're not just like totally cooked if you go a specific set of stats because you think it looks cool. You want to be the haste demon hunter. Well, guess what? You're useless. You don't want it to be like that, right? Like as close as possible in terms of competitive flavor and style. One thing that I wasn't 100% sure if it was on the War Within or not, which is this little talent node here with Soul Cleanse and Burn It Out. Immolation Aura can remove a disease effect, or it can remove a curse effect. So previously, you'd be kind of boned against a Warlock. They would put like a Curse of Exhaustion on you. You'd be moving slow. And even in PvE, if there's like a big disease damage hit or a curse that's really important, the fact that you can kind of strip that off of yourself could be something that's very underrated as far as your ability to move around the map and get onto your target. Kind of, unfortunately, it makes you counter Warlock even more than you probably already did. But it's something to note, something to keep track of, because you still have other talents where Immolation Aura can dispel magical effects as well. So you're going to be like this perma-dispelling engine of hatred that's self-healing permanently and doing monstrous amounts of damage with very little effort. Is kind of the current iteration. That's the best way that I could describe it for the beta. Although usually when a class is as good as it is right now like this, you're probably going to get nerfed. So Demon Hunter is a lot simpler. They've removed a lot of pain points on it. It's very straight. I would say that it almost feels like the Rat Paladin rework back in Dragonflight, where it was just kind of like face roll and you're kind of stomping everything and rolling around and just owning anything that came your way. That is pretty much what Havoc Demon Hunter plays like right now for Midnight at the moment. And we'll have to see where it goes from here. If they plan to add any extra layers of complexity, or if they want to orient it more around Chain CC or not. So as always, I think it's a great idea to just smash the subscribe button. I will be relaying the patch changes, tier lists, class updates, and breakdowns as time goes on, so that you'll never be missing a beat. You'll know exactly what's going on in the next expansion with your spec, or a spec you might be interested in playing or checking out. So I think it's a great idea, and your support is obviously greatly appreciated. But that's my breakdown of it. That's the gist of it. Super face roll, monster strong, less emphasis on finesse and crowd control. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown, and I will see you in the next one.